River Road, you got me running way back home. River Road, you got me running all night long. You got me singing some canal boat song. River Road, you got me running all night long.
All right, everybody, welcome to our Friday episode. Niner Nuts, the whole gang is here. Dan, Mr. Jimmy B, Mr. Easy E. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Let's do it. Let's do it. This is the week that we hit, right?
Yes.
Let's hope so.
By many people's standards, mine included, this is the best week of football outside of actual Super Bowl Sunday. It's divisional round weekend. We're just going to dive right into it. There is no Niners anything that at least I saw that's worth talking about. So this is entirely... Did you see something?
Yeah, Kittle is a finalist for the Salute to Service Award.
Oh, I did not see that. He's legit in the final three?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, shout out to George Kittle for that. I know I've seen that he does a lot for the military.
Yes, he does.
Well, now that's all we have for Niners.
and that concludes the podcast, everybody. Great week. We'll see you next week.
Yep, see you Tuesday. Again, it's so weird. The first 2 years of the show, and now it's just like, there's still some stuff to talk about, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, we got our parlay, a big old parlay to celebrate divisional weekend, and we got it all right here. Obviously, we're going to address each game because we got something going on in every one of them. Our first one is the Rams at the Eagles Sunday at 3. Mr. Jimmy B, you will be reporting for us there. You're going again.
4.3 inches of snow during the game. Like, I've been looking at the weather like every day, like now, like to see what it is. And it's supposed to start snowing right at 2:30, right before kickoff. The whole entire game. It's supposed to be a cumulative of 4.3 inches during the game. Could be more as we go towards the end of the week. This is going to be great. As you know, I love being in the cold and watching football, like, you know, in the divisional round, and, you know, to see my beloved Eagles hopefully win against the Rams to go on to the NFC Championship game would just make my weekend.
Dude, we have experience with divisional round football in freezing cold weather, so you're prepared. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. My mom gave me, like, you know, 20 hand warmers today.
There you go. That and a couple of brewskis will do you good.
And I got snow boots too. I got snow boots for this game.
Oh, nice.
There you go. I did not wear boots when we were in Green Bay, and I
Lord.
I figure if it's snowing,
you still have all 10 toes, Dan?
I do, surprisingly.
I figure if it's snowing and because I'm basically in the 700 level, so I'm gonna have to climb up steps and stuff. Like, having boots might be a good investment.
Yeah. Anyway, with what we got, we are riding our normal anytime with Jalen Hurts and at least one passing touchdown. We're going to throw AJ a bone. He's going to have 50 yards receiving, the number one. He's going to break out because he was pretty quiet last week, if I remember right.
Yeah,
and then,
I mean, he's dealing with an injury. Like, he was dealing with, like, a knee injury. But also, like, typically, like, if there's a week where AJ Brown doesn't get very many targets or very many receptions, the very next week he gets, you know, 6 receptions for 130 yards, and you know,
he's gonna go off.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, I think there should have been a bet of the over under how many pages he's going to read of the book on the sideline. Like, there should have been a bet like how many pages he's going to get through. So
I saw that book went up like literally 53 million%, like insane.
Oh yeah, it went from like 525,000 on the Amazon seller list to number 1 within like 2 days or something since it broke that was the book. So
and that artist had a very pleasant heart attack seeing that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, their little Amazon sales thing at home. It's all of a sudden it's like bling 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 bling. They're like, what is that that noise?
Yeah.
His agent calls him, and it's just like, what happened?
Yeah. I mean, it was sort of like, rush hour on the Easy Pass, like ding, ding, ding,
yes.
ding.
Yeah.
That's so. Anyway, the last thing, Eagles. We think they're gonna cover a 5.5 spread. You said the spread was 6, so it's only a little bit less. I guess
we took 5.5 basically because Jake Elliott is missing extra points. So if the line is 6 and they win by a touchdown and Jake Elliott misses an extra point, we lose our parlay. So negative 5.5 is probably the best way to go. And I always recommend that. Like if you have a solid single point spread, you should either go half a point under or half a point over, just so that you can avoid a tie and losing your money in the event of a tie.
Yeah. I guess my 2 cents on this game. I told you Rams are feisty, and Eric, you were right that the Vikings ended up being kind of chokers. But I think being in Philly, your defense is legit. The Rams have a lot of fight in them, but I could see this being at least a 7, if not a 10-point victory for the Eagles. Like, no offense to the Rams at all, but I think Matthew Stafford's going to get stymied by that defense, and then Hurts is going to be fine. Like, maybe it's not like a real showy showstopper, like, look at that highlight, but you guys will grind it out, keep your offense on the field, and I think it'll be I think you guys are going to go to the NFC Championship, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, too. Like, this might be a good day for Saquon rushing, too. Colder weather, snow on the ground. This is the type of game where, like, the offensive line just wants to push people and create havoc that way. And so, I think it could be a big day for Saquon as well, just running in the snow and stuff like that. So this is going to be a true weather game. I don't see a whole lot of scoring like through the air, but it's going to be a tough, one of those brutal battles, I think, that we're going to get here in Philly.
Yeah, the over-under is 43.5, just so you know. So Vegas not predicting a ton of points either.
In the snow, under.
Yeah. I think all these bets are very reasonable. I think I think the snow can be a big factor in that game as a negative for the Rams. The Rams are a very finesse team, especially on offense. I don't think that they're going to function well in the snow if it's really going to be that big of a factor. Whereas that Eagles team, like you were just saying, Jimmy, I mean, they can just line up Saquon and just hammer you with him. Not that Kyron Williams isn't a good running back, but they still rely on a lot of motion and gaming and switching and all that sort of stuff to make that Rams offense go. And that's just not going to work as well in the snow with what they're going to be trying to do. Whereas the Eagles could just line up and just hit you with Saquon.
The only thing that like maybe concerns me about the Eagles defense is that Nakobe Dean is out for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to have Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Starting at linebacker, who was the guy that recovered the fumble on the opening kickoff this week when it looked like the Packers had it. He was the one that came out of the bottom of that pile with it. And he's, he grew up in Philly because, his dad played for Philly. So, he just comes from a good lineage. So I'm predicting that, I think the moment won't be too big for him, given that his dad played in similar games. So like he has, he can get that, that knowledge passed down on what it's like to play in a playoff game and, what to do to be prepared for the Rams and all of that. So I think Junior will put in the work and, I'm just a little bit worried about that, but at the same time, like I trust that Jeremiah Trotter Jr. can do the job as well. So
yeah, line's still -6 Eagles on this game, so it hasn't moved since we talked earlier and made our bet. I think the Eagles are going to win. I think I'm with you, Dan. I think they're going to win pretty handily by a touchdown or more. I don't think that it's going to be particularly close. I think that when you look at the, like we've done, and we talked a little bit about this before, when you sort of look at the tiers of teams, I think the Eagles are up here, and I think the Rams are just a step below, and I just don't think that the Rams are going to be able to get there this week. So Eagles win, and Jimmy B's got to scrounge up cash to go to the conference title game next week, hopefully.
Oh, no, it's way too expensive.
You say that now.
Oh my gosh, bro. No, like the tickets, like these tickets were like maybe $360 a piece. For the NFC Championship game in Philadelphia, it's almost $1,000 already.
Oh, that's a lot.
It's a lot of money. I can't afford that. No, I can't afford.
You can, because we're going to hit this parlay. Oops.
Oh my god, dude! If we hit the parlay, then just maybe, I'll buy myself and only myself a ticket to the game.
See, there you go. That's the key.
This
parlay is going to get you to the game, Jimmy B.
Yeah, I mean, we got what, plus 10,000 on this parlay?
Yeah. Bleep that out, Dan. You're on mute, Dan. Dan, you're on mute.
If you do one more, I'm gonna be mad because that's more editing for me.
I'm sorry. I got really excited for Jimmy.
It's okay. I understand, but you're assuming. But if you host the NFC Championship game, I mean the Lions lose, and I will be very sad because that's the new bandwagon I'm on.
I mean, I could probably hang out in the parking lot, and like.
Would the Eagles have a watch party if the Lions make it through and it was Eagles Lions?
I mean, I'm sure, like I could drive the Chickies and Pete's or.
Well, no, I meant at the stadium. Like, would they have a watch party at the stadium?
They might. I know they do it for the Super Bowl. I don't know if those.
I can't see them not doing it for the NFC Championship game.
That's true. Cool. They could definitely do that. So maybe, and those tickets are obviously cheaper.
Yeah.
Maybe I could do that and get some tickets that way and just watch at the stadium. That'd be cool.
There you go.
I think you should treat yourself should that happen. But gentlemen, we need to move on. We got 3 more games to cover. The next game is the second Sunday game. Just realized we're going backwards.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's DraftKings' fault. Which, by the way, the banner, gamble responsibly, whatnot. It still counts. It still counts. I finally said it. I said it at one point.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Ravens and the Bills. This is the Sunday 6:30 game, right after the Eagles game, and the tried and true again. Derrick Henry touchdown. Derrick Henry 60 yards, and then James Cook still finding a way to do 50 yards himself. I'm only personally like a little like. This is the only part that scares me the most because I could see the Ravens selling out to stop the run and that backfiring on them because their secondary is just god awful with big plays this year. But I'm comfortable enough. 50 from James Cook is not a big ask for him. But then in regards to how do I feel about this game? This is my cop-out game. It could go either way. I hear a wonderful argument either way. The Ravens didn't crap the bed last week, so if those Ravens show up again, totally understandable that they beat the Bills. They beat the Bills last time. And then the Bills, they're also awesome. They could take advantage of that terrible secondary in Baltimore and make a bunch of splash plays. And Josh Allen can have his destined rematch with Patrick Mahomes, like Mahomes Allen 4 or 5, whatever matchup we're on now. But I don't know. Don't ask me to pick a winner. On my personal ticket, a money line will not include this game. I have no confidence either way.
Who's favored? Who's favored, by the way? I mean, I'm sure the Bills are favored by how much?
The Ravens are favored by 1.5.
Yeah, it was a very, very slim.
1.5.
So you get your home underdog there, Jimmy. You love a home underdog.
Home underdog, money line. Yeah, get the money line on the Bills, man.
Money line is negative 102 on the Bills.
See that that's pretty decent for the to have the Bills at minus.
About even money, yeah.
You can do that money line for me. I have no confidence in picking either team. Both of these teams have very compelling reasons that they'd win.
If it's gonna snow like the Dickens in Philly, what's the weather gonna be like in Buffalo?
Exactly.
Oh,
it's supposed to be south. It's supposed to be South Philly, like Buffalo is like really way north of Philly. So I don't know. I didn't see the weather prediction for them, but I know in the South we're supposed to get, like last time I checked it was 4.3 inches, but they said like it could even by closer to game time we could be expecting more.
Show researcher, see what Sunday forecast for Buffalo is, because they have a lake literally right next to them. So
20 and cloudy.
20 and cloudy. Any chance of precipitation?
Doesn't look like it from the little preview, but
okay, so it should be minus it being 20. Like that's the only environmental factor.
Cloudy, bundle up for the football game, it says.
All right. Sounds like it'll be a good. I'm not mad that it's snowing in Philly, but like that's gonna be. I'm excited to see some big splash plays happen in this game. Derrick Henry trucking somebody for 70 yards. Shakir catching a bomb for 60 yards. Like this is the game I'm most excited for. I'll just go ahead and say that. Out of all four of these, this is the one that I would circle personally. No offense.
Yeah, I mean, and like last week we were all. I mean. Derrick Henry easily got 60 yards and a touchdown, on Saturday night. So, I mean, it's pretty much almost automatic that this happens for Derrick Henry. So we've been riding it all season long. So I think it's pretty much hit almost every single time that we bet it, but.
Yeah, and James Cook has been really good all season long. He had over 1,000 yards this season, so he's been really fantastic for the Bills. Their running game is kind of underrated in terms of what they do. Everybody just thinks everything rides on Josh Allen and his arm, but while he's been obviously very good this season, their running game has been a large portion of why they've been so successful this year, because they've been able to control the clock and run a lot of play action and things like that this season. That's helped make them successful. So I felt that, James Cook getting 50 plus yards in this game was a pretty good chance for success, because one of the things that they're going to have to do, Buffalo, to be successful is keep Baltimore off the field. In order to do that, you got to be able to run the ball. So,
yep. Yeah. Very true.
Yeah. As for a pick, gosh,
not easy, is it?
I'm gonna go Bills. I'm gonna go. This is the ding dong game for Lamar Jackson, as you like to call it, Dan. This is where he trips over his own ding dong, and the Ravens collapse, and they sort of fall apart, and the Ravens are inconsistent, right?
You laugh, James. Look back at their last 4 playoff runs.
I know. I laugh just because it's funny. Like, your terminology is just really funny. Like,
but I mean,
that just cracks me up.
Yeah,
I know it's true, but it's just the way you're saying it. It's like,
To steal all of Dan's phrases, the Ravens are the model. The only thing that's consistent about the Ravens is their inconsistency, and I think this is finally where their inconsistency shows up. Is going to be in this game, in this moment against the Bills, and we're going to be set up for what's turned into the Manning Brady of this new generation, is the Mahomes versus Allen matchup of this generation, and I think that's what we're going to see again.
For the record, I will be cheering for Buffalo. Like, objectively, no money involved. I will be cheering for Buffalo because I would like to see them play the Chiefs.
Yeah, and when a ding dong comes out of Dan's mouth, it's really funny.
I gave you that layup, Elf. Not hoisted by my own petard. I don't know. I'm gonna stop talking. We'll just go on to our next game. Speaking of the Chiefs, they are not the primetime game on Saturday. They are the 4:30 game. I just realized I wish I had who was calling each of these games right in front of me.
Oh, I'll grab it for you while you're talking.
Oh, cool. Well, anyway, this is the 4:30 Saturday game, and it is the Texans going to the Chiefs. We only have 2 things on here. No offense, Texans. It's Travis Kelce with 5 receptions and Patrick Mahomes 225 passing. I'll admit I was a little iffy on the 225 too. I was a little more for the 200, but he's coming fresh off a bye week. He's at home. His weapons are much healthier than they were during the regular season, and I sold myself on the Texans not being able to recapture that same magic they did against Justin Herbert, and Travis Kelce is going to be a big part of that. So I see no reason why he's not going to get 5 receptions. It might not be 100 yards, but he's definitely going to get 5 catches. And I mean, what else is there to say? I think the Chiefs are going to annihilate the Texans. I said that last week with the Chargers, but I don't know. This is the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs are going to the AFC title game. The football gods have already destined this to happen. It's going to be Mahomes versus Allen. Give me one good reason to think otherwise. That's my challenge.
Right. I mean, I was the one who said push it to 225, just simply because I didn't like minus 500. I mean, minus 500 was a pretty hard hit to take for 200 yards for Patrick Mahomes. So I think when we bumped it up to 225, it went down to minus 207. So
yeah,
I just wanted better odds. That's just plain and simple. But I mean, I think Mahomes can hit it 225.
He hit it 9 times in the regular season. So like right at the halfway.
Right. Exactly. So it's possible, for him to do this. Like you said, he has a full entourage of weapons healthy right now. So as long as nobody gets hurt and they can pass the ball around, 225 should be cake. And we all know the primary receiver in the offense is Travis Kelce. So we'll probably get a healthy dose of him. So 5+ receptions sounds like a good Kelce pick too as well.
Yeah. I agree with basically a lot of what you guys said. Oh, by the way, this is the ABC ESPN game. So this is Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
Awesome.
Yeah. I didn't really have a problem with bumping up Mahomes to 225. I mean, I think that they're going to be throwing the ball around in this game against the Texans. The Texans' run defense is not bad. So I think they'll have to rely on the pass a little bit more. And then as far as Kelce catching 5 balls, I mean, the playoffs is where he excels and is where he stands out and is where he's going to be making his money. And so I think him catching 5 receptions in this particular game is going to be a pretty easy mark for him to hit. So not too concerned about that one either. Chiefs are favored by 8.5 still. So, I mean, everybody is all in on the Chiefs on this particular game. I mean,
is there a case to be made that the Texans have any prayer in this game?
Yeah, there is. I mean, if the Texans team in totality shows up, they can win. And
if the Chiefs from the first 12 weeks of the season shows up, they could win too.
If the Chiefs start off slow from not playing for the past 2 weeks, and the Texans team in totality shows up, this game could get squirrely, would be the way that I would put it, and be much more of a contest than what people are thinking. And the Texans could come out on the better end of it because the Chiefs are having to play from behind and are pressing a little bit more than they would like. Do I think that that's going to happen? Probably not. But there is a multiverse in which that occurs, and the Texans win. I would still put my money on the Chiefs.
The key matchup that's going to probably decide this game is going to be that Texans offensive line versus the Chiefs defensive line, which this year you could put question marks all over the Chiefs. It's not on that defensive line led by Chris Jones.
Yeah,
so,
very true.
And guess what the worst part of the Houston Texans is? Except Laramie Tunzel, the other 4 offensive linemen. So if Stroud can stay upright and he can find Nico Collins, if he can find I don't even know who his other receivers are, honestly, after now he's lost Dell and
Diggs.
I don't know who the other Dalton Schultz, the tight end.
I don't
know the other receivers though.
Maybe if Laramie Tunzel can get everybody to join into a gas mask bong, maybe that'll loosen them up and they'll just be ready to go.
Well, one other thing against the Texans though is ESPN posted today that Mixon is questionable to play. If Mixon doesn't play, the Texans have no shot.
Yeah.
So, and to your earlier question, Dan, the Rams-Eagles announcers are Tirico and Collinsworth, and then Ravens-Bills are Nance and Romo.
So who's Brady calling? Detroit Commanders?
Brady's calling the Lions.
Yep.
Romo's calling my. I hate Romo's calling the game.
No, I didn't watch the broadcast of the Eagles game, but I heard Tom Brady didn't say Eagles for like 3 quarters.
Oh, really? I have no idea.
That's what I heard through the grapevine through one of my niece's boyfriends. So he was
that's funny. I didn't know.
He didn't even want to say Eagles for the first 3 quarters. So
if that's true, that's so funny. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't paying that close attention to him saying Eagles or not. But that's so funny. All right. Well, anyway, we might as well go on to our last game. The Commanders at the Lions, Saturday primetime, 8:00. The 2 8:00. 6:00. The 2 later games were the 2 to put later. Again, no offense, I know the Eagles, but
yeah. It's fine. I mean, at least I won't be at the stadium until 12:30 at night. So
hey, true. Commander, the Wonderkin, Commander Daniels going to Detroit, Eminem's team facing Jared Goff, and I really hope Dan Campbell's coach of the year. We've debated it. Dan Campbell winning coach of the year would probably make me smile the most because he 100% deserves it. The other coaches we talked about too, but Jane Daniels rushing for 40, Scary Terry for 70 receiving, Jahmyr Gibbs 75 combined rushing receiving, and the one I pushed the hardest for, Jameson Williams 55.5 receiving. We can break all these down. I just wanted to read that for our audio listeners. I don't know. This is another game I'll be cheering for the Lions. And do I think betting wise they win? I'd be comfortable putting the money down if we put that on the money line. But this Commanders team, dude, when the game gets down to the wire, they know how to grind it out. We talked about that on Tuesday, but if the Lions let it stay close, like they let our game against them stay close on Monday Night Football, it's going to go very differently than when they finally just stayed enough ahead of us. The Commanders know how to strike if they're within striking distance in the 4-minute drill. So good luck, Lions. Don't consider this a cakewalk because it definitely won't be.
Well, it's definitely not a cakewalk. We've seen the Commanders, if they're close towards the end of games, they are pretty decent at pulling them out. Regardless of who the opponent is. They did it against the Eagles. The Eagles had 5 turnovers. And the Commanders still figured out a way to win that game. So anything goes in the Commanders game, and so Detroit, given the fact that they have this, a lot of defensive people out, I mean, this could be like Eric said for the other game, this could be squirrely. This could be really squirrely for the Lions. And, we saw last year too, in the NFC Championship game, they got a big lead going into half, and they came out of the half flat, and the 49ers stole the game away from them. And so we've seen 2 sides of the Detroit in the playoffs, and so I mean, we know Detroit can win, but we also know they can blow it too. And so this Commanders offense is really kind of potent, I think. And so if it's close, it could definitely go either way.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this game all hinges on the Lions' defense. They are favored by 8.5 still, so everybody thinks that the Lions are going to win.
That seems a little high.
I think so too. I mean, if you look back at the last 5 games that the Lions played, they gave up 31 to the Packers. They gave up 48 to the Bills. They gave up 17, but to the Bears. They gave up 34 to us, and then they gave up 9 to the Vikings. Now, they won 4 of those 5 games because they outscored everybody regardless. But I'm going to maintain that you don't want to get into a shootout with the Commanders. That's just not a position that you want to be in, because this Commanders team has proven time and time again throughout the season that if you get into a shootout with them, you're probably going to come out on the wrong end of that, especially if they get, as you were saying, Dan, the ball last, with 4 minutes to go or something like that. They've been excellent at closing games out. So that's not a position that you want to be in. So if this Lions team comes out and they play poor defense, which they have been playing for the last 5 weeks.
Month and change.
Yeah, month and change. They could be in a world of hurt against this Commanders team. Now, if they come out and they play that defense that they played against the Vikings and really shut Daniels down and confuse him and, make him, not know what he's doing out there and limit what he can do throwing the ball and stuff like that, well, then they'll run away with this game, because the Commanders' defense itself is not very good, and the Lions are definitely going to put up points. I mean, it's going to be the over on this game is really high, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm telling you, Jameson Williams, like he did against us, he's going to I'm calling it confidently. He will have multiple jailbreak-like catches.
Yeah, the over on this game is 55.5. So, I mean, they're predicting lots of points for this game. And I mean, I'm thinking, whatever team gets to probably 35 is the team that's going to win this particular matchup. And it's just a question of who's going to get there first, probably. So, as far as
if Jared Goff can not throw some random errant picks like he's had a couple times lately.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I think as far as our bets going here, I mean, Jaden Daniels running for 40 plus. I mean, I think that's pretty logical to happen. I mean, watching him over the last couple of weeks, I mean, he runs a lot, not just because of designed runs, but because the Commanders' offensive line is not really great. So he's forced to scramble and make things happen a lot. So that just gets him moving. McLaurin is fantastic as a receiver. He is so underrated, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see what sort of press and everything that he gets now that he's actually got someone throwing him the ball and can actually make some things happen.
Next year, he'll be in the 1,500 club. I'll call that now. He'll be in the 1,500 top 5 club next year.
Yeah. I mean, he's great. Jahmyr Gibbs, the 75 plus. We had been hitting 100 plus with him, but with Montgomery coming back this week and stealing a few of his carries and a few of his opportunities, 75 plus seemed a little bit more logical there. And then you were pushing for the 60 plus on Jameson Williams, and that was actually over his, Vegas's over under for him. So we went with just like the straight over under for Jameson Williams there to kind of just hit what Vegas was going with there. So,
but I think what that kid can do. He can split safeties as good as anyone else, and I guarantee he'll do it in this game.
Yeah, he's hella fast. So, we'll see what shakes out. But I mean, I go into every week on our parlay ticket thinking that I'm really confident that our ticket's going to hit.
We always do. Yeah.
So, I mean, to our credit, we usually only miss maybe 1 to 3. So, I mean, it's usually not too bad. But hopefully, I mean, listeners, this has got a pretty ridiculous payout if we hit. So
plus 10,000 right now, like a little over plus 10,000 is what.
Yeah,
I think it's at the top.
Oh, that was not. Oh, damn it! The other picture. There it is. Almost 11.
Plus 10,780.
Yeah. So I mean, really good payout for us if it hits.
I'll take $500.
Yeah, we'll be popping some bottles. I'll have to file taxes. And but that'll be okay. Yeah. And we'll see what happens. But I want the Commanders to win this game. I really just like this Commanders team for whatever reason. I don't know. They've just kind of grown on me over the last couple of weeks. I want
to see Birds Commies rematch. I want to see the Fraser Ali fight for the third time.
with the
stakes on the table.
You want to talk about we've all want the Lions and Dan Campbell to finally get Detroit over the hump. What if the NFC Championship game is an NFC East battle? A rookie knocking on the door of the Super Bowl, or the Eagles trying to get back to their second in 3 years. That's kind of wild in itself.
Yeah. And if you think about history too, either Goff or Hurts is going to lose before they get to the Super Bowl. If you look at history, we still haven't had a quarterback who lost his first Super Bowl since 96 go back to the Super Bowl. So that's an interesting storyline in the mix of everything that's happening here. You have Stafford, who's won, two guys who
Hurts and Goff could both lose. Commander Daniels could take them both out.
I know that's the thing. With that type of history going on, you just don't know what's going to happen in these playoffs. If we're going to see Goff or Hurts get into the Super Bowl and break that curse, or is Stafford going to get back there and try to get his second Super Bowl in 4 years, 5 years, or you have Jaden Daniels
was his last one.
Yeah. So, or you got Jaden Daniels, who's tearing up the league, and could he end up, getting into the Super Bowl and maybe being, the face of the league going into next year,
Yeah, Stafford retires if he gets a second Super Bowl ring, right?
Oh, dude, 100%. No way he's going to keep playing. Yeah, right. Get out of here. There's right behind what's going to happen with Aaron and the Jets. Right behind there is Stafford going to get traded? Where's Stafford going to get traded to? The Rams don't want to pay for him anymore. Where's he going to get traded to? That's going to happen again because it happened this last offseason too.
I'm going to look it up. What's his cap hit for next year? Is it bad?
Look at Spot Track. I don't remember. But no, there was all this last offseason they were talking about trading Stafford to the Dolphins.
Well, yeah, but that was because they didn't think they were going to be any good.
True, that's fair.
And then they turned out to be pretty good.
His cap hit can't be higher than 42 at the worst. At the worst.
His cap hit's 49.
Is it a contract year he's going into?
No, he's got one more year after this.
So next year's the contract year.
Yeah.
Okay, so no, sorry. When does the contract expire? I'll say that.
He's a free agent in 27.
So next year's the contract.
No, he can play 25 and then he's in a contract year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But he counts. So yeah, this year is an interesting year for him because he counts 49 dead cap or 49 to the cap. So it's kind of a wash either way.
Does he have void years?
No, he doesn't.
Restructure, kick that shit down.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think so, right? I mean,
prorated signing bonus.
And say F them picks, go all in.
Just convert half that into a signing bonus and make 2 or 3 void years.
I don't know. I mean, he's still pretty good, right?
Exactly. It's kind of worth it because no, he's not playing like a 36 or 7-year-old. He's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up his stats real quick, but I mean, he was pretty good.
He wasn't a Pro Bowler because the Pro Bowlers were Sam and Jared and Baker. So no.
Oh, so he was 3,700 yards, 20 touchdowns, 8 picks. I mean, that's not 49. That's not 49 million.
Well, remember he was without.
It is.
Well, remember he was without Cooper and Puka for a month.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I'll give him 6 more touchdowns and 500 more yards. Okay.
That's 4,326 touchdowns.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, he's 40 million at least, probably.
And Eric's fine.
I mean, he's not 50 million, but he's creeping up there.
You could not be an agent. You could not be an agent.
No, I could not be a GM. I could be an agent because I would flip the narrative around and I would totally be like, no, my guy's worth all this money. I would be a terrible GM because we would have no players because I would not pay anyone.
You would be even worse than the Bengals owner.
Yes.
You would be searching for replacements,
I would be like, Jimmy B, what are you doing this weekend? You want to come out and play some football? Come on. I'll sign you. I'll pay you $100,000, and you'll be like, well, shit, yeah, I'm playing up football. It's fine.
Yeah. Go down the first play. Oh, pull my hamstring. $100,000 in my pocket.
It's not even the first play. It's in the pregame warmups.
You get tackled by Calais Campbell one time.
Oh my gosh. No, not even that. Imagine if like Kyle Hamilton was coming down on a blitz and you had to like pick up the blitz and he just trucks you. Oh, or Derwin James from the Chargers, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. Stafford's still pretty good. I mean, I get that he's 36 years old. He'll be 37 next year. But I mean, what are you going to do other than that? I mean, if you get rid of him, you're not getting anybody better.
That Georgia quarterback that went to rehab, get him in there.
Stetson Bennett.
Stetson, there it is. I forgot his name.
He's already like 30 years old. Right? Like he's been in the transfer portal for like 8 years.
And very drinky.
Yes. I say that in a very joking, lighthearted manner. But yes, no, he was at he was at Georgia for like 8 years.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're gonna blow it all up, then fine, blow it all up, trade him, get rid of him, whatever. But I mean,
gotta cut Cooper too then.
Yeah, you've got to cut Cooper, yeah, for sure. But I mean, if you're gonna keep Cooper and you're gonna keep Nakua and you're gonna keep Stafford and make another run. I mean, you've gotten to the second round of the playoffs. I mean, and as long as you play competitive in this game, I don't see why you wouldn't try to. And the defense, I mean, my gosh, the defense against the Vikings last week,
9 sacks.
Yeah, looked absolutely amazing. So, I mean, if they've really built something on the defensive side of the ball, then, you know, the offense doesn't have to be great. It just has to be good to be able to survive. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't try to win something with that, or I would at least start out the next season with those guys and see what happens. And if we're 3-5 through week 8, then maybe I look to trade them midway through the season.
Yeah.
But I'm probably not trading them in the off season.
Not to have wholly turned this back half of the episode into a Rams podcast, but like, yeah, I've read a handful of Jordan Rodriguez write-ups about the Rams because my casual eye, like, they drafted so good in the past 2 years. Like, everybody that's an impact player on that defense literally is like a rookie, second year, third year at the oldest. Like, that is a young, feisty, crazy good defense.
Yeah. So I don't know. I would probably, I mean, unless there's something that I don't know about that team, I would probably try to run it back in the first half of the season and see what happens. And if we're at least 500, I'm going to keep running it and see what goes. But if we stink, then I'll trade those guys away.
Let me ask this as a last question before the sponsor. Who has, in your opinions, because I want to hear your opinions, who has more at stake in the Ravens and Bills game? Who do you think has more at stake for their legacy?
Lamar.
I mean, yeah, I think it. I don't know. Like, Josh has played these epic battles, still hasn't made it to the Super Bowl. You know, I mean, they both really, you know, have this legacy thing. Honestly, my gut says to Josh Allen, because really, if you look at it, like, you know, when it came to like epic games and stuff like that, we tend to look at Josh Allen differently, but really it's only been like one epic game like that, you know. And so I don't know. I'm pretty good to go with Josh Allen. I think he has more on line for his legacy, because Lamar, if Lamar wins the MVP, that's 3 MVPs, you know, and that says a lot. I mean, 3 MVPs is Hall of Fame. Like, look at all the people who have 3 MVPs, and they're all in the Hall of Fame. And he would have done it without having to win a Super Bowl, but he still has 3 MVPs to say, like, I was the best player in the league. Josh Allen has no MVPs. He has no Super Bowl appearances, you know, and basically we give him, you know,
he's got like what, 4 or 5 Pro Bowls.
4 or 5 Pro Bowls, and like we give into this lore too that, but really like he has only played one epic battle, gone toe to toe with Mahomes in the playoff, and that's like his legacy right now. That one game in where they went toe to toe with the Chiefs and lost in overtime. Look at some of his other games in the playoffs. It's not against Patrick. No, he's never beaten Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, and they've had to get through that. And much like we were talking about, like maybe 5 years ago, we were talking about how Mahomes couldn't get past Brady, and so I think honestly, with Lamar probably being the MVP this year, that really his legacy is there because he's got the 3 MVPs. I think Josh Allen really has more at stake to his legacy because he's just, he's played like the best player in the league, but he's had one epic battle in the divisional round with Mahomes, and we sort of let that play in our minds as him being like this sort of great quarterback in the playoffs. But I think he has more at the stake because like I said, Lamar has the MVPs. He doesn't.
I think the only thing I'll piggyback on that, because I agree with essentially every point, I would just punctuate it with the analogy that Josh Allen is at risk of becoming the next Phillip Rivers. Like, if you think about it like that, tremendous stats, lots of Pro Bowls, one AFC title game appearance, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I see what you're saying, Eric, with like, okay, well, he won MVP, but he still can't get past the divisional round or the conference championship. He's got the 3 MVPs though. Like,
well, but I'm going to use it. But I'm going to peel it out here, and I'm going to use a basketball analogy, right? Like, how many people bagged on LeBron for years because he was winning MVP after MVP after MVP, but he wasn't winning titles. And then it wasn't until he started winning titles that people finally started considering him to be one of the all-time great players in the NBA, right? And so, I think that while people can consider Lamar to be good, it's regular season Lamar that's good, and it's playoff Lamar that's bad, because it was always playoff LeBron that couldn't get it done, right? And it's the same narrative that's there that I think is for Lamar right now. And I think until Lamar can get over that hump and at least get to the Super Bowl, I don't even think he necessarily has to win the Super Bowl. I think he just has to get to the Super Bowl. I think then you can say that his legacy has been a little bit more cemented. I think right now you've got a guy who people are going to legitimately say in some degrees that he piles up a bunch of regular season statistics like he's a Madden player. And then once the playoffs come and the spotlight's really on him and the magnitude of the game is a bit higher, he crumples underneath of the pressure. The losses that he's had in the playoffs have all been really, really bad losses. It's not like they've been like close games and it's been like, oh, geez, it was just one bad play, or, oh, this one thing happened. He's been bad in the losses that they've lost. And so I think that's the big thing that comes away for me. Whereas when you look at Josh Allen, those expectations just aren't really there yet for him. He's been good and people view him very highly, but this is like the year that he's really kind of broken out. Maybe even last year a little bit as well, but it's really just been in this year that he's really broken out into this candidate for MVP and this leader and this all-world quarterback, because he's done so much with what people say is so little on the Buffalo offense. And so I think that the expectations are high for him this season. But I think if he doesn't get there, people will be like, oh, that's okay. Buffalo was an up-and-coming team this season. They overachieved this season. Nobody thought that they were going to get to where they got to this season, and that's okay. They're going to add a couple of pieces in the offseason, and they'll be back next season. But when Lamar loses this season, it's going to be like it's all the narrative you're going to hear is Lamar failed in the playoffs yet again.
But ultimately, let's say Lamar's most likely going to win the MVP.
Probably,
right?
Yeah.
And if their careers ended this weekend, is Lamar a Hall of Famer and is Josh Allen a Hall of Famer? First ballot. Who do you think's going first ballot out of those two players? 3 MVPs versus no MVPs. And
well, hell, even his 2 MVPs, if it literally ended right now and just by some fluke, he still has 2 MVPs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not disputing his I'm not disputing his regular season greatness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that this game in particular matters more to him because his playoff legacy is more tainted by his individual performance and his epic losses going back however many seasons. Whereas Josh Allen, if he loses this particular game, the narrative is going to be, oh, he lost to these presumed 3-time to come MVP anyways, right? So
yeah,
no big deal there.
The great player in the wrong century.
Yeah.
Or in the wrong generation.
Yeah, he lost to the presumed 3-time MVP Lamar Jackson anyways. So no big loss there. And again, the Bills overachieved, all that narrative. So the loss isn't going to stick to Josh Allen. If the Ravens lose, that loss is going to stick to Lamar Jackson, unless something really wacky happens in the game that just I don't foresee happening. When the Ravens lose, the narrative is going to be Lamar Jackson failed yet again and couldn't get past the Bills and Josh Allen.
Yeah, my point. But
your point being valid of if he has, 2 MVPs, 3 MVPs, or whatever, he is quote unquote the better player.
It's like, James, you're making more of like a bigger picture point, and Eric has stayed a little more focused on like the immediate fallout of the game. At least from what I'm seeing.
Yeah. But his legacy would be that he was the best player in the league and couldn't win, but he would still go to the Hall of Fame with 3 MVPs on a first ballot. Ultimately wouldn't hurt him in his legacy in the league in a bigger scope. And if Josh Allen loses this game, then we're looking at him maybe being
doesn't change his legacy.
You don't think he would be like Danny White of the Cowboys, the guy that got to 4 AFC Championship games, or he wouldn't be like Donovan McNabb,
Phillip Rivers,
4 NFC Championship games. McNabb went to 5 NFC Championship games, right?
Yeah.
Lost 4 of them, went to 1 Super Bowl. He's not in the Hall of Fame yet. He's arguably on the edge and cusp of Hall of Fame worthiness, and that's where Josh Allen is. That's where his legacy lies.
Right, now, but I'm just saying if we're splitting hairs, but if we're talking about this particular game, if Josh Allen loses this game, doesn't change his legacy. He's not getting into the Hall of Fame anyways. If Josh Allen wins this game, he's not getting into the Hall of Fame just because he won this particular game.
Your argument is Josh Allen is playing with house money.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. This game doesn't matter to his legacy in any way, shape, or form. It's the games after this game that matter to Josh Allen's legacy. It's the AFC Championship game against Mahomes that matter to Josh Allen's legacy. It's the Super Bowl that matter to Josh Allen's legacy. This game is completely irrelevant to Josh Allen's legacy. This game is important to Lamar Jackson's legacy because he has to win. He has to get to the Super Bowl. He has to be the best player. He has to carry the Ravens because he's going to win MVP again, and he's going to have that stigma of just being a great regular season player who folds and craps himself in the bed and trips over his own ding dong in the playoffs.
I like how it's evolved from throwing up all over yourself to tripping on your ding dong.
We'll bring back the throwing up all over yourself at some point in time.
Or we'll just merge them and throw up all over your ding dong.
That's a different kind of podcast,
Dan. Jimmy, if you had one more point, we need to wrap up. But if you want the floor for one more,
no, that's fine. We'll do that as final word. I mean, I had my say. Eric got his say. So
I think as moderator, I think both points are very valid.
Yeah,
I understand
both sides.
Yeah, mutually exclusive. I agree with both of them. Bigger picture. Yeah, Lamar's going to worry about that. Although I do kind of agree more that like Josh shouldn't have even been here to begin with how bad that offseason was this past year. So now they're, even if they lose tomorrow, it'll be like, or this weekend, it'll be like, okay, but we still have a big parade that we can show people like, hey, we got this far when everyone left us for dead. Come join us so we can actually go over the hurdle, and then yada yada. But anyway, that was a very fun final question for this episode.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it. It's very rare that we some of us disagree and like we have to battle. We have a battle like on first take, you know?
Yeah. Take that, Steven. I'll take $20 million now.
That's right. Yeah, give me that Skip Bayless money.
Ooh, let's not talk about Skip right now.
It's not the lawsuits. I don't want the lawsuits.
I just want the money. I didn't say I was going to do the things that he does with it.
Oh, you need to see that meme I sent you guys. Or did you see that meme before we started taping?
Oh,
what AB posted a picture of a not Hollywood film set. I'll say it that way, and it said in the caption read "Behind the scenes at Fox Studios."
Nice.
Oh, so funny. Look at it when we're done taping. It was great. But anyway, we need to take a minute now to give thanks to our sponsor, RoyalRetros.com. What is Royal Retros? It is your go-to place to get yourself an authentic throwback jersey. Whether you're a fan of football, basketball, or any of the major sports, they got you covered. And go ahead and check out the Candlestick collection. It's curated with us Bay Area fans in mind. And when you find something you like, use the promo code Shady Sports and get 10% off your order. Again, it's 10% off your order with the promo code Shady Sports at RoyalRetros.com. Again, RoyalRetros.com. Go get yourself an authentic throwback jersey today. James, let the good people know about our t-shirts.
So, guys, we've been raising money for Mountain Comprehensive Care Centers in Kentucky, an organization that helps those who are victim of domestic violence and serious sexual crimes recover for them. The reason why we're doing this is because at one point, the Houston, Texas minority owner was charged with very serious sexual crimes in Kentucky. And our purpose is saying that what we're saying is you probably didn't hear about that, probably never heard about it, never even knew it was a thing. But Tyreek Hill got arrested on opening day, and we knew before kickoff that he had been arrested, and we had the footage, we had everything that you could possibly think of that happened in that incident, we had before kickoff, and he was arrested at like 9:00 in the morning. Yet this Houston Texans minority owner was charged, and 3 months go by before the NFL even says a blurb about it. So we think that the accountability for owners is less than players, and we feel that needs to change simply because the NFL has said that owner standards are supposed to be greater than player standards. So to do this, we are raising money for Mountain Comprehensive Care Centers by selling our t-shirts. Here we have our statement: owner standards are less than player standards, #owner accountability. $22.99 gets you that in a t-shirt. We have different colors, different styles and sizes. You can get a hoodie, pullover hoodie, crew neck sweatshirt, all of that. Next up, we have our podcast logo art. You'll find this wherever you see our YouTube channel, Spotify channel, Apple Podcast channel. You'll see this in our profile. $22.99 gets you that in a t-shirt, or we have different styles and different sizes of that. Next up, we have our alternate logo shirt. $22.99 gets you that in a t-shirt. We have different colors and different styles and different sizes of that. And then finally, how can you say no to our mascot, a peanut, eating peanuts while sitting on the couch, cheering on the San Francisco 49ers? $22.99 gets you that in a t-shirt. Donate to Mountain Comprehensive Centers today. All proceeds go to them.
Yep. We do not want any money from these shirts. We just want you to have a cool shirt while helping a family in need. It's Division Weekend, people. The games are Saturday at 4:30 and 8:30, and then Sunday at 3 and 6. And it's all the big people, all the big dogs. Just double check which channel won which game. They're all over the place, but not Prime anymore. Prime's last game was last week. And yeah, I don't know. Don't really have any more news. We had our news at the top. Nothing Niners related. Deontay Johnson. Just that's been a fun little carousel to watch. Not really worth wasting much more time than the little blurb here at the end on it, but going from Carolina to Baltimore to Houston, and now he got released from Houston and got claimed by Baltimore, but NFL rules are saying that he is part of Baltimore, but not really. He can't get claimed till after the Super Bowl or whenever their season ends. Like, that's just been kind of entertaining to watch. And how big is he more toxic than George Pickens? It makes me wonder. Like,
he's more toxic than pretty much everybody, I think. I mean, like, the Ravens outright just said they claimed him just because they want to pick. So I mean, like they're not intending to keep him or play him or have him next season at all. I mean, they're just hoping to have him and then have him go sign as a free agent somewhere and get a compensatory pick for him. So
you mean taking him back now? The intent was to just get the comp pick, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just picking him up now so that when he signs as a free agent somewhere in 2025, because we all know that somebody will be like, that guy's really talented, I can get the most out of him, I know it'll probably be like somebody in New Orleans or somewhere stupid like that. But yeah, they're just hoping they'll get a compensatory pick in 2026 for him. So the Ravens have the most compensatory picks in the NFL since they started handing them out, at like 56 of them or something stupid like that.
Jeez Louises. I know we had got quite a few of them, but I guess we were paling in comparison to them.
Yeah.
Well, I think with that, guys, it's been a fun week. It's going to be an awesome weekend. Just check the listings for all the games.
Have fun at the game, Jimmy.
That's right.
You stay warm.
Yep. Outro music, River Road, Justin Youth.
We'll be back on Tuesday, guys. Have fun with Divisional Weekend.
River Road, you got me running way back home. River Road, you got me running all night long. You got me singing some canal boat song. River Road, you got me running all night long. River Road, where have all the women gone? Have they kissed her hand and waved you bye-bye? Have they thought about crossing your double yellow lines? River Road, they love the way you